Epstein file leaks, there are a lot of other celebrities who are involved with him. Honestly, Hollywood...
People that are in the position to actually know the people's names on the list, those people are probably in trouble.
Passion of the Christ. And we were humiliated. We were taken.
Even beyond the recent discussion surrounding the Epstein files, public interest continues to grow around the relationships powerful celebrities and influential figures may have had with him over the years. Much of that attention comes from one central question. Why has there been so little transparency and accountability surrounding the people connected to Epstein's social circle? For years, audiences have watched comedians, journalists, and public figures hint at uncomfortable truths about Hollywood, elite social networks, and the entertainment industry's culture of silence. One of the most talked about examples came from comedian Ricky Gervais during his appearances hosting the Golden Globes. Gervais became known for directly mocking the entertainment industry in front of its biggest stars. His jokes targeted celebrity hypocrisy, corporate influence, and Hollywood's tendency to avoid difficult conversations. In 2020, one of his most controversial moments came when he referenced Jeffrey Epstein during the ceremony. The room's reaction immediately became part of the conversation online. Some viewers saw discomfort, others saw annoyance, and many interpreted the moment as evidence that Hollywood's elite were deeply uneasy about public scrutiny. Gervais later explained that his focus was always on public behavior and celebrity culture rather than private speculation. He often described his audience not as the wealthy people seated in the ballroom, but the millions watching from home. At the same time, broader conversations about accountability in entertainment were already intensifying. Investigative journalists such as Ronan Farrow helped expose abuse and misconduct across multiple industries, contributing to a wave of public revelations during the #MeToo era. As these stories unfolded, many people began questioning not just individual behavior, but the systems that allowed powerful figures to operate with limited oversight for so long. Another figure who became part of this wider discussion was actor Jim Caviezel following the release of Sound of Freedom.
Who do I pander to? The 200 richest people in the room, or the 200 million people?
Actors and actresses in the audience, they look terrified at the idea of you mentioning their names.
It is worse than you can even imagine. I could still name quite a few people.
It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I had a lot of experience from the past.
Film centered on child trafficking. Caviezel spoke publicly about the difficulties the project faced during production and distribution, arguing that Hollywood was hesitant to support controversial subject matter. The film ultimately became commercially successful despite limited studio backing, fueling ongoing debates about media influence, censorship, and the entertainment industry's relationship with politically sensitive topics. From there, discussions online increasingly shifted toward a broader issue: the culture of extreme privacy surrounding celebrity wealth and influence. Private islands, secluded estates, exclusive retreats, and invitation-only gatherings have long been associated with billionaires, celebrities, and political elites. Before the Epstein scandal, many people viewed these locations simply as symbols of luxury. After Epstein, however, public attitudes changed dramatically. The concern raised by critics is not necessarily that every wealthy person is involved in wrongdoing, but that environments with little transparency and minimal outside oversight can create conditions where abuse may go unnoticed. Naomi Campbell's name has appeared in publicly discussed Epstein-related documents and media reports over the years. Records and testimony referenced in lawsuits and investigations have described social connections between Campbell, Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. Campbell has denied knowledge of Epstein's crimes before his 2019 arrest and has not been charged with wrongdoing related to the case.
Through the ringer and the media. This was before Trump came out and said it was, the line.
You feel that?
I did, and I noticed it the first time. I didn't get it. Like, one of the first one I did it, people would, all that stuff I said in the show was true. I said, I'm going to write my own jokes. Right? And I thought...
Still, critics point to the length of those associations and the continued contact after Epstein's 2008 conviction as reasons the public continues to ask questions. Online discussions have also focused on Campbell's luxury properties and elite social connections, though many claims circulating on social media remain speculative or unverified. It is important to distinguish between documented associations and allegations that have never been proven. Oprah Winfrey's Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa was created as a philanthropic project aimed at helping underprivileged students. In 2007, allegations of abuse involving a dorm matron at the academy led to an investigation that received international attention. Oprah publicly addressed the situation and said she was devastated by the accusations. The employee accused of abuse was later acquitted in court. Critics nevertheless argued that the case highlighted broader concerns about oversight and accountability within isolated institutions, particularly those involving vulnerable young people. Supporters of Oprah have emphasized the positive impact the Academy has had on many students over the years, while critics continue to question how abuse allegations could emerge within such closely controlled environments. Richard Branson's Necker Island has long served as a retreat for celebrities, business leaders, and politicians. The island's guest list has included world leaders, royalty, entertainers, and billionaires. Because gatherings on private islands occur away from public scrutiny, they have increasingly become subjects of speculation in the post-Epstein era. There is no public evidence connecting Branson's island operations to criminal activity. However, some observers argue that the Epstein scandal permanently changed how the public views private luxury compounds and elite networking spaces. Magician David Copperfield owns Musha Cay, a luxury private island resort in the Bahamas. The property has attracted attention for its exclusivity, high rental costs, and unusual branding, including stories about hidden attractions and themed experiences. While online commentary often portrays the island as mysterious or secretive, there is no verified evidence suggesting criminal activity connected to the property. Still, critics argue that ultra-private environments naturally attract public suspicion in an era where secrecy among powerful individuals is viewed more critically than before. Leonardo DiCaprio purchased Blackador Cay in Belize with plans to develop an environmentally focused luxury resort. Years later, the project still faces delays tied to environmental concerns and development challenges.
In media and the fake news, and they were fake news back when we were doing that, but
Come up and say, what are you going to say about me? I think, why do you care? I only go after their public behaviour in the room, or the 200 million people watching at home who aren't winning awards, who aren't millionaires.
that film done, so I had a little bit experience of what this can be like.
Online speculation has questioned whether the eco-resort was ever intended to move forward, though there is no evidence proving any improper motive behind the delays. DiCaprio has also faced scrutiny because of documented social overlaps between celebrities, models, and individuals later connected to Epstein's network. As with many public figures discussed in connection to Epstein, the distinction between social association and criminal involvement remains important. The broader issue raised by many commentators is not simply about individual celebrities. It is about systems of wealth, influence, privacy, and power. The Epstein case exposed how influential people could maintain elite social networks while avoiding meaningful scrutiny for years. Since then, public trust in institutions, celebrity culture, and media gatekeeping has weakened significantly. For some observers, the concern is that excessive secrecy itself creates risk, especially when enormous wealth and influence are involved. At the same time, accusations and internet speculation can spread far beyond verified facts. Public curiosity should not replace evidence, due process, or responsible reporting. The challenge moving forward is balancing legitimate public scrutiny with factual accuracy rather than allowing rumor alone to shape the conversation.